outside. By the time the neighbors wake up, something good's inside. That smoke that hits you at the end of the street, the kind that makes a grown man stop and move his feet. Toward the fence line, toward the yard, toward the gate. Tell your wife you'll be there soon. Tell her not to wait. By 10 o'clock the coolers are already set. Bobby showed up first, which is the earliest yet. He brought the ribs, Marcus brought the links, Sarah brought the sides, and everybody thinks they can tell me how to run this grill right here. 20 years of Saturdays, I got nothing to fear. Stand back, give me room, let the man work his art. The smoke and the fire is where the magic starts. 12 o'clock and the whole street smells like heaven. The kids are in the yard and somebody's playing Leonard Skinner. Temperature is 92 and nobody cares. The only thing that matters is we're smoking over there. Smoking fire, smoking fire. Everything we need is right here in this yard. Smoking fire, smoking fire. Smoke curling up like a prayer to the Lord. The brisket's almost ready and the ribs are almost done. This is what Saturday was invented for, son. Smoking fire, Lord, we're doing it right. From the morning light and charcoal to the last bite of the night. Smoking fire. 2 o'clock and we're deep into it now. Somebody fired up the horseshoe, somebody found the plow. Through the shed, don't ask, it's a long story. The corn is on the grill and turning golden glory. My daddy taught me low and slow is the only way. 8 hours minimum, that's what I always say. The ones who rush should never get it right. The ones who wait for it get that perfect bite. 4 o'clock and the brisket hits the board. I cut the first slice and everybody moved toward the table at the same exact second. Flat 20 people unanimous, can't argue with that. The smoke ring perfect, the bark exactly right. The inside pink and tender as the evening light. Somebody said, Lord, that's the best they've ever had. I said, I know, my daddy's recipe from his dad. Smoking fire, smoking fire. Everything we need is right here in this yard. Smoking fire, smoking fire. Smoke curling up like a prayer to the Lord. The brisket's almost ready and the ribs are almost done. This is what Saturday was invented for, son. Smoking fire, Lord, we're doing it right. From the morning light and charcoal to the last bite of the night. Smoking fire. Turn it up, pass it down. Best backyard in the whole damn town. 5 a.m. to the end of the night. 20 pounds of brisket done right. Smoking fire, that's our Saturday. Smoking fire, wouldn't have it any other way. Sun goes down and the fire's still going. Somebody pulled the speakers out and the music's flowing. Kids are running, dogs are loose, the neighbors all stayed. This is the kind of Saturday that legends are made. Somebody says same time next week without asking twice. Everybody's already nodding, yeah, that sounds nice. My wife brings me a plate of the last of the brisket right there. I look at her and think, Lord, I got more than my share. Smoking fire, smoking fire. Everything we need is right here in this yard. Smoking fire, smoking fire. Smoke curling up like a prayer to the Lord. The brisket's gone, the ribs are done. This is what Saturday was invented for, son. Smoking fire, Lord, we did it right. From 5 in the morning to the last fire of the night. Smoking fire, smoking fire. Same time next week. Smoking fire. Yeah! There's a code among the people at a Saturday gathering about the cooler and the ice and the situation they're in. You don't show up to somebody's yard with empty hands. That's the first and most important law of backyard lands. You bring something cold, you bring something good, you contribute to the cooler like a neighbor should. The man who shows up empty gets a look that ain't written anywhere, but everyone knows the book. Now there's a ranking system that nobody admits, but everybody practices once the cooler sits. Open at the corner of the yard by the fence. Here's the hierarchy if you want to make some sense. The craft stuff goes on top, show a respect. The domestics go below, nothing wrong with that. The off-brand goes in last under all the ice. Whichever one will drink at night and say it tastes nice. Cooler full of cold ones on a Saturday afternoon. Everybody reaching in before the sun hits noon. Somebody always grabs one that ain't theirs. That's fine. In a cooler full of cold ones, everything's mine and yours and ours. Cooler full of cold ones, that's the common ground. Strangers become neighbors when the ice is going around. This is the American tradition that the founding fathers knew. A cooler full of cold ones and good people running through. The ice debate happens every single time. Someone always argues how much ice is the right kind. Half and half says Bobby, ice on top, then drink. Fill it up with ice first, says Marcus, make some sink and get cold faster, which is science, he says. We've been having this argument for 20 Saturdays. Nobody has changed position, nobody's won. The cooler gets cold either way when we're done. By 4 o'clock the situation gets reviewed. The rest of conversation has to be pursued. Somebody's gotta run and nobody wants to go, because running means leaving and nobody wants to. So we do the calculation, what's left against what's needed, against how long this party has agreed to. And somebody always volunteers eventually, usually the one who drank the most. That's just comedy. Cooler full of cold ones on a Saturday afternoon. Everybody reaching in before the sun hits noon. Somebody always grabs one that ain't theirs. That's fine. In a cooler full of cold ones, everything's mine and yours and ours. Cooler full of cold ones, that's the common ground. Strangers become neighbors when the ice is going around. This is the American tradition that the founding fathers knew. A cooler full of cold ones and good people running through. White styrofoam on the tailgate of a truck keeps everything cold till the very last drop. Doesn't matter what's inside as long as it's cold. The cooler is the center, that's a truth as old as old. Cooler full of cold ones on a Saturday afternoon. Everybody reaching in before the sun hits noon. Somebody always grabs one that ain't theirs. That's fine. In a cooler full of cold ones, everything's mine and yours and ours. Cooler full of cold ones. Everybody knows. That's where the party lives. Until the last one goes. This is the American tradition that the founding fathers knew. A cooler full of cold ones, and I'm sharing mine with you. Cooler full of cold ones, sharing mine with you. Same time next week. Hey! Yeah! Let's go! Every neighborhood has got one, we all know the type. The man who shows up at your cookout with unsolicited advice. He's got a thermometer, he didn't need the bring. He's got opinions about your charcoal and your seasoning. He said your grill's too hot before he even sat down. Said he's won 3 cook-offs, 2 county and 1 town. Said the secret is the wood chips and the angle of the vent. I said, brother, sit down, I know exactly what I meant. He took the tongues without asking, that's the cardinal sin. Grabbed a piece of chicken, flipped it, said, where do I begin? The temperature's uneven, he said with absolute authority. I said, give me back my tongs with equal velocity. He meant well, that's the thing that makes it complicated. He genuinely believes he's being helpful and related to the situation as an expert contributor. But what he is a self-appointed grill distributor of opinions nobody asked for at my grill. He thinks he's the king of the grill. He thinks he's the king of the grill. Got unsolicited advice and the confidence to fill this whole yard with opinions about temperature and skill. He thinks he's the king of the grill, but here's the thing about the king of the grill. When his chicken's burned on the outside, pink in the middle still, he hands it back to me and I fix it, and I will, because I'm actually the king of the grill. His wife knows, she gives me the look from across the lawn, the look that says I'm sorry and this has been going on since approximately 1998, and I have made my peace with it for better or for worse and late. I've accepted that wherever there is fire and meat, he will appear with his thermometer and his critique. But here's what I've also learned about the situation. He always stays the latest and he eats the most. That's validation. At the end of the night when everybody is gone, he helped me clean up without being asked, stayed on. Said, man, that brisket was the best he's ever had. I said, I know. He said, you're not as bad as you think you are at this. I said, sir, I know I'm not. He laughed and I laughed, and we've been doing this every summer since '98. He thinks he's the king of the grill. Oh, he thinks he's the king of the grill. Oh, got unsolicited advice and the confidence to fill this whole yard with opinions about temperature and skill. He thinks he's the king of the grill, but he always eats the most and stays the latest of them all. He helps clean up when everyone else has gone down the hall, and maybe that's its own kind of king after all, even if I'm still the king of the grill. Every cookout needs a character, every yard needs a man with a thermometer. We'd miss him if he didn't show, even if we'd never say so. King of the grill, give me back my tongues. A king of the grill. Connected before the truck door closed. Speaker sitting on the tailgate, ready to go. Hit the button and the whole yard came alive. This ain't elevator music, this is built to drive. The bass hit first and somebody looked up. the exact same time. Can't explain it, but the right song at the right volume is the only kind of physics that matters on a Friday night. My neighbor, Mrs. Patterson, walked out at 8, hands on hips, looking at the yard from behind the gate. I turned it down 2 notches out of genuine respect. She stayed and listened for a minute, then she came in on the deck. Grabbed a lawn chair, set it up right by the speaker. Said, whatever that is, turn it back up, it couldn't be sweeter. She's 73 and she was first on the floor. Best thing about a good song, it's not about age anymore. Turn it up, let it hit the way a Saturday night should. Turn it up, the speakers on the tailgate in the neighborhood. Doesn't matter what they say, doesn't matter who complains. When the right song hits the right volume, everything changes. Turn it up, Mrs. Patterson says, turn it back up. Turn it up. There's a science to the speaker placement in the yard. Too far left and you lose the porch, that hits too hard. Right in the center of the tailgate angle, it's like 45 degrees. I've tested this, trust me, I'm right. The perfect volume is 2 notches below the max. Loud enough to feel it, but not so loud it cracks. The conversation, you still want to hear each other talk. Just loud enough to dancing is the natural way to walk. By 10 o'clock the playlist has cycled twice, and somebody's taking over, which is perfectly nice. Because the best playlists are collaborative things. You never know what the next person's gonna bring. Bobby put on something nobody expected to love, and everybody loved it. That's the gift from above of a shared speaker and an open cue. The whole yard finds out what the whole yard knew. Turn it up, let it hit the way a Saturday night should. Turn it up, the speakers on the tailgate in the neighborhood. Doesn't matter what they say, doesn't matter who complains. When the right song hits the right volume, everything changes. Turn it up, Mrs. Patterson says, turn it back up. Turn it up. Every song is better outside. Every song is better with people beside you. Every song is better when the volume's right. Every song is better on a Saturday night. Turn it up, all the way up like we mean it tonight. Turn it up, Mrs. Patterson's dancing and she's doing it right. Doesn't matter what tomorrow holds, tonight is tonight. When the speaker's on the tailgate and the whole yard comes alive. Turn it all the way up. Turn it up, Mrs. Patterson says, turn it back up. Turn it up. Before the pavement starts, that's where the real driving begins, and the city falls apart. In the rearview mirror, getting smaller, getting gone, nothing but the dust cloud and the open and the lawn. Dirt road to the left, left, that one goes to the creek, dirt road to the right. That one goes to somewhere I've been seeking all week, behind a desk inside a building under lights, saving it all up for moments exactly like 45 in a 55 zone, but not out of fear, out of wanting every single second of out here. The way the truck moves different on a loose gravel road, the way you feel every rut through the steering like Morse code. The red dust rising in the mirrors like a flag. I've been in the city long enough to genuinely brag about being back here with the windows all the way down, dust in my teeth, and not a single sound of town. Dust on the fenders, mud on the floor, that's how you know you went somewhere worth going for. Dust on the fenders, gravel in the wheel well still, that's the evidence of freedom, that's the Saturday thrill. You can wash it off on Sunday when the weekend's done, but right now every speck of dust is hard-won. Dust on the fenders, Lord, that's how it should be. Nothing on the road ahead and nothing behind but me. Found a spot where the creek bends at the old oak tree. My grandfather brought my father here, my father brought me. 3 generations of men who needed this particular bend of a particular creek at a particular dead end of a dirt road with no name on any map I've seen. But I could drive it in the dark, I know exactly where it means to turn left past the Henderson place, right at the broken fence, then straight till the road stops, that's the whole address. 2 hours out here does what 2 weeks of vacation can't. Get something out of me that the ordinary can't reach with all its calendar and deadline and demand. Just me and the creek and the truck and the land, and the dust settling slowly on every surface sand, the particular quiet of a place that understands that sometimes a man needs a road with no signal and no end. Just the dust on the fenders going around the bend. Dust on the fenders, mud on the floor, that's how you know you went somewhere worth going for. Dust on the fenders, gravel in the wheel well still, that's the evidence of freedom, that's the Saturday thrill. You can wash it off on Sunday when the weekend's done, but right now every speck of dust is hard-won. Dust on the fenders, Lord, that's how it should be. Nothing on the road ahead and nothing behind but me. Gravel flying, engine singing, windows down and the radio bringing every song that was made for this exact road. Dust on the fenders is how freedom shows. Dust on the fenders, mud on the floor, that's how you know you went somewhere worth going for. Dust on the fenders, Lord, turn up the radio, every mile of gravel is a mile worth every go. You can wash it off on Sunday, today it stays right there. Dust on the fenders and gravel in my hair. Dust on the fenders, Lord, that's how it should be. Nothing on the road yeah. Hey! Payday was Friday and it's Saturday at noon. My wallet is considerably lighter than it was but the tank is absolutely full, which means the possibilities are technically boundless. In theory, I could drive to Nashville and back. In practice, I have about $14 and a quarter tank of dignity, and the best playlist anyone has ever assembled. My buddy called and said, "Where are you going?" I said, "I don't know yet, but I'm going." He said, "Can I come?" I said, "You're buying lunch?" He said, "Fair enough, I'll meet you at the highway." 2 idiots, $14, a full tank, and the entire afternoon available for decisions. This is either the beginning of a great story or a lesson in financial responsibility. Either way, somebody's gonna tell it at a party. Full tank, empty wallet, that's the sweet spot right there. Full tank, empty wallet, best combination in anywhere. You got enough to go, but not enough to overthink. You got the road in front of you and the edge of the brink of an adventure that doesn't cost what adventures cost in theory. Full tank, empty wallet, Lord, that's the formula clearly for the kind of Saturday you tell people about on Monday. Full tank, empty wallet, let's go somewhere. We found a diner 60 miles from where we started that had a lunch special for $6, which was smart and generous, and the waitress was fantastic. And the pie was $3.50, which was slightly past realistic given our situation, but we ordered it anyway, because you don't not order the pie on a day like today. My buddy said, "I'll pay for the pie if you pay for the gas." I said, "That's the same $14. He said, "We'll figure it out." We figured it out. Made it home with 11 cents in the account, and a story that is genuinely worth the amount we spent on absolutely nothing, and also everything at $14 and a full tank of gasoline. Yeah, can buy when you're 20-something or 30-something or whatever age you are when you still do this kind of thing, which I hope is every age, because the alternative is knowing where you're going before you go. And where's the gift in that? Full tank, empty wallet, that's the sweet spot right there. Full tank, empty wallet, best combination in anywhere. You got enough to go, but not enough to overthink. You got the road in front of you and the edge of the brink of an adventure that doesn't cost what adventures cost in theory. Full tank, empty wallet, Lord, that's the formula clearly for the kind of Saturday you tell people about on Monday. Full tank, empty wallet, let's go somewhere. 11 cents in the account, best day of the month without a doubt. Some days you spend everything right. Yeah, Sunday. Sunday started Saturday night. Somebody said one more and one more turn to light. Coming through the kitchen window at 7:12, nobody went home and everybody's helping themselves to the leftover brisket cold straight from the foil, which is honestly better than it was last night. No toil required when the smoke's at 12 hours to settle in. Sunday morning brisket, that's how Sunday begins. We made coffee for 14 people in a pot for 6. Somebody ran to the gas station for the emergency fix. Came back with donuts, which was nice. not on anyone's list, but it was exactly what 14 people in a yard needed. Can't be missed. Kids showed up at 9 because word got around that the yard was still going and the brisket was still found. Dog showed up too, nobody questioned it. Sunday has its own gravitational pull once it hits. Sunday won't let go. Sunday won't let go. Everybody's got somewhere to be, but nobody wants to go. Sunday won't let go. Sunday won't let go. One more hour turned to 3, and now the evening's starting slow. Mondays are right there, knocking on the door, but Sunday's got its arms around us, and we're staying 1 hour more. Sunday won't let go. Lord, Sunday won't let go. And honestly, we're glad it won't. The afternoon came easy like it always does when nobody's watching the clock, because nobody was. Somebody found the football, somebody found more eyes. The neighbor who showed up briefly stayed through twice. His original intention, which is exactly right. Sunday is contagious. Once you're in, you're in, till the last person standing says, I gotta drive, and everybody nods and nobody leaves, and we survive. 7 o'clock, and we're genuinely considering that Monday might just be a concert worth reconsidering. Bobby said he called in once, just once, on a Monday. He said it was the best investment of a Sunday in his entire adult life, and while we can't endorse it, we understand the reasoning, completely can't ignore it. The brisket's gone, the ice is done, the sun is setting red, and the only thing better than this Sunday is the next one ahead. Sunday won't let go. Oh, Sunday won't let go. Everybody's got somewhere to be, but nobody wants to go. Sunday won't let go. Sunday won't let go. One more hour turned to 3, and now the evening's starting slow. Mondays are right there, knocking on the door, but Sunday's got its arms around us, and we're staying 1 hour more. Sunday won't let go. Lord, Sunday won't let go. And honestly, we're glad it won't. Fight it all you want, Sunday always wins. The best ones never end, they just turn into next weekend's plans. Sunday won't let go. Sunday won't let go. 14 people in a yard, none of us will go. Sunday won't let go. Sunday won't let go. Brisket's gone, the ice is done, but the fire's burning low. Monday's real, but Sunday's real is still tonight. We'll face whatever Monday brings in the morning light. Sunday won't let go. Lord, Sunday won't let go. Same time next weekend, everybody knows. Hey, same time next weekend. Hey, Sunday won't let go. specific, which is a level of freedom that I find terrific. Friday at 5 and the week is behind me, in the rear view with everything that tried to grind me down to a schedule and a series of obligations. I have exactly 0 of those considerations tonight. I know where I'm going when I get there, which is the whole philosophy of a nowhere night. Some of the best decisions I have ever made were made at highway exits in the fading Friday light. Do I want the diner or the roadhouse? Do I want the river or the ridge? Do I want the town I've passed 100 times, or the one past the covered bridge that I've always meant to stop in and have never stopped in yet? Tonight might be the night or not, and either way is fine, I bet. Nowhere in particular is somewhere after all. Nowhere in particular answers when the highway calls. You don't need a reason and you don't need a map, just a full tank and a Friday and the need to close the gap between the life you live and the one you remember when you're sitting at a desk in the middle of November. Nowhere in particular, Lord, that's the destination. Nowhere in particular, best place in the nation. Ended up at a drive-in movie in a town I'd never been. Paid $5 for a double feature. Couldn't tell you what I seen because I fell asleep somewhere in the second feature, which is the correct way to experience this creature comfort that is a drive-in in a small American town on a Friday night in summer with the windows rolled down. Woke up during the credits, drove home in the dark, didn't know what I needed, found it, that's the art. Sometimes the going is the whole point of the going. Sometimes the arrival is wherever you stop knowing where you were headed and surrendered to the road. Sometimes the best thing you can find is nothing that you chose, and everything that found you when you made the space by having no particular destination or place. Just the highway and the Friday and the open and the wide and whatever's out there waiting at the other side of wherever you end up, which is enough. Nowhere in particular, somewhere after all. Nowhere in particular answers when the highway calls. You don't need a reason and you don't need a map, just a full tank and a Friday and the need to close the gap between the life you live and the one you remember when you're sitting at a desk in the middle of November. Nowhere in particular, Lord, that's the destination. Nowhere in particular, best place in the nation. Whoa, drive-in movie, covered bridge town, best Friday night when you don't write it down. Nowhere in particular, Lord, lead me there, that empty highway going anywhere. Nowhere in particular, best place in the nation. Hit the highway at 7 with the sun in my mirrors. Playlist already queued up and the first song appears, and it's exactly right the way the first song on a road trip has to be exactly right, or you have to start over, which I have done 3 times this morning. somewhere good. There's an art to the road trip playlist that people underestimate. It's not shuffle, never shuffle. Shuffle doesn't understand the emotional arc of a 4-hour drive, the way you need the slow build in hour 1, the power songs for the long stretch in hour 2, the feel-good stuff for when you're getting close, and the perfect landing song for when you pull in. You can't shuffle your way to that. It requires intention. Road trip playlist on a Saturday morning. Every song picked for a reason. Road trip playlist. Somebody spent 2 hours getting the order for the season right. Verse 1 through the suburbs, when the skyline disappears. Bridge through the long, flat, beautiful nothing, and the final track when home appears. Road trip playlist. Oh, that's the art of knowing where you're going before you start. Road trip playlist. It's not just music, it's the whole entire map of how you feel. Hour 2 and I'm past the civilization line, where the radio gets fuzzy and the playlist takes over full time. Something classic comes on, something I know every word to, and I'm singing at a volume that only the highway can absorb. This is the freedom of the road, the volume without limit, the singing without audience, the feeling without filter. Just the song and the road and the speed and the morning and whatever's coming at the other end of all this driving. The last 40 miles and I cue up the landing songs, the ones that ease you back from the highway into real life. The transition from the open to the specific, from the going to the arriving. There's a song for that moment when you pull off the highway, when the signage gets familiar and the streets have names you know. The landing song is the most important song on the list. Everything else is the road. The landing song is the destination. Road trip playlist on a Saturday morning. Every song picked for a reason. Road trip playlist. Somebody spent 2 hours getting the order for the season right. Verse 1 through the suburbs, when the skyline disappears. Reach through the long, flat, beautiful nothing, and the final track when home appears. Road trip playlist. Lord, that's the art of knowing where you're going before you start. Road trip playlist. It's not just music, it's the whole entire map of how you feel. Every mile needs a soundtrack, every hour needs its song. The playlist is the co-pilot that gets you where you belong. Road trip playlist on a Saturday morning. Every song exactly where it should be. Road trip playlist. 4 hours of intention, This is late night driving. This is the specific kind that has no daytime equivalent inside my mind. Everything is clear at 100 miles from town, when the only light is what the truck is throwing down. There's a hypnosis in the center line at speed, a rhythm to the road that gives you everything you need to think without the interruption of the ordinary, to be alone in the way that open highways carry you. I've solved more problems on this road at night than I've ever solved in conversations in the light. There's something about the dark and the speed and the sound of an engine in the black that turns everything around. High beams on the empty highway, nothing in front of me and nothing in the way. High beams on the empty highway. This is where the thinking gets done at the end of the day. Two lanes in the dark and the engine and the speed. Everything I wanted and everything I need. High beams on the empty highway. Lord, I needed this tonight. Mile marker 72 is where the thought arrived. The one I've been trying to think for a week survived. The committee of the day and all its interruptions, and showed up clean at 72 without instructions. Just arrived complete and clear, the way answers sometimes do, when you stop looking for them and just drive and let the highway do what highways do. 2 a.m. and I should probably turn around, but the road is perfect and the radio found something that fits exactly how this feels. And sometimes you just drive until the feeling heals, or clarifies, or resolves, or just becomes familiar enough to carry home back to the life that waits with all its morning obligations. I'll be there, but right now, high beams on the empty highway. Nothing in front of me and nothing in the way. High beams on the empty highway. This is where the thinking gets done at the end of the day. 2 lanes in the dark and the engine and the speed. Everything I wanted and everything I need. High beams on the empty highway. Lord, I needed this tonight. Hit the accelerator, let the engine sing. Dark highway, high beams, everything. This is the medicine nobody sells. An empty road at midnight, Lord, it works. High beams on the empty highway. 2 a.m. and nothing in the way. High beams on the empty highway. This is where I go when I got something to say to myself, when the day has left me needing more than sleep, when the road is all I'm reading. High beams on the empty highway. Lord, I need it every mile tonight. crowd, the place was packed, the air was thick. I was heading to the bar and heading back out until I saw the hat tilted at an angle that should not be as effective as it absolutely was from 20 feet away. Brown felt, worn brim, just enough crooked to make me stop and not continue on my way. She was talking to her friend and not looking at the floor, which is how confidence presents itself when it's not trying anymore. She laughed at something, didn't look around to see who saw, which is the thing that finished me completely. That's the law of attraction that nobody writes about. The person who laughs without checking if they're being watched. The person who exists inside the moment and doesn't need the moment to exist outside of them first. That crooked cowboy hat across a crowded bar. I didn't plan on staying, but I didn't get that far. Something about the angle, something about the smile, something about a woman who's been dancing for a while and forgot to care. That's the thing right there, that crooked cowboy hat and that don't care air. I walked over instead of out, and here we are. That crooked cowboy hat across a crowded bar. I said something that was probably not clever. She gave me a look that said, you can do better. But she didn't leave, which is encouragement enough for a man who's trying is half the stuff. We danced to something fast and something slow. I found out she's from 3 towns over. I said I know that town. She said how? I said I've been driven through it. She said that's not really knowing it. I said you're right, I'd like to fix it. Last call came before either of us was ready, which is the best sign of a good evening. Steady up until the lights come on and then suddenly gone. She gave me her number, standing right here where we've been all along. I said I'll call you. She said I know you will. I said how do you know? She straightened my hat and said because you've been standing here all night, not trying to leave. I said yeah. She said yeah, that's how I know. That crooked cowboy hat across a crowded bar. I didn't plan on staying, but I didn't get that far. Something about the angle, something about the smile, something about a woman who's been dancing for a while and forgot to care. That's the thing right there, that crooked cowboy hat and that don't care air. I walked over instead of out, and here we are 3 years later. That crooked cowboy hat across that crowded bar. She straightened my hat, said she knew I'd call. That crooked cowboy hat. The bar's 3 deep on a Friday, and I've been trying to get the bartender's attention for 10 minutes, which is fine. I'm not in a hurry. I have nowhere to be and nobody waiting except the woman to my left, who is also trying to order and also not being seen, which means we have the same problem, which is essentially an introduction. I said, what are you having? She said, why? I said, I'm going next. She said, prove it. I caught the bartender's eye. She said, how did you do that? I said, years of practicing under funded bars. She ordered something I didn't catch over the music. I ordered something I didn't think about. She paid before I could, and I said I was gonna do that. She said, you were next in line, not next in line to pay. Which is fair, which is also the most interesting thing anyone has said to me in approximately 6 weeks. I said, can I at least tell you my name? She said, you can tell me your name. Bar rail conversation. She beat me to the tab. Bar rail conversation. Best introduction I've had. Screaming over music just to make our order heard. Somehow in the middle of the loud we found our words. Oh, bar rail conversation. She said, prove it. I said, watch. Bar rail conversation. Best 2 minutes at the bar I've got. 3 deep on a Friday, and the universe arranged that we'd both be thirsty at the exact same time. How strange. We ended up at a table in the corner of the room, because the bar rail is not a place for conversation that goes anywhere. And it was going somewhere, I could tell by the way she sat, like she'd made a decision to be here and was comfortable with that. She told me what she does, I told her what I do. Neither of us pretended those things were more interesting than the question she asked me at the bar rail, which was not a question, it was a test. I walked her to her car at midnight, which was not my plan at 8 o'clock. She said she thought about not coming out tonight. I said, I'm glad you changed your mind. She said, I'm glad the bar was 3 deep. I said, me too. She said, same time next Friday. I said, I'll be here early. She said, prove it. I said, this is gonna be a recurring theme. She said, yes it is. Bar rail conversation. She beat me to the tab. Bar rail conversation. Best introduction I've had. 2 strangers trying to order in a Friday night crowd. Found each other somehow right there in the loud. Oh, bar rail conversation. Prove it. Watch. Okay. Bar rail conversation. Best way to start a day. 3 deep on a Friday, and the universe said hi. Bar rail conversation. That's my favorite kind. Prove it. She beat me to the tab. Same time next Friday. She says y'all like it's 1 syllable. She says fixin' to like it's standard English. She says bless your heart in a way that has 17 meanings, depending on the context and the inflection. She calls the grocery store the Piggly Wiggly, even though the Piggly Wiggly closed in '94. She calls every soft drink Coke regardless of the brand, which is its own philosophy, I understand. She says Matt could wear people say maybe. She says right quick where other people say hurry up. She says all get out at the end of superlatives. Dark as all get out, hot as all get out, funny as all get out. Which is not a measurement that converts to anything, but communicates perfectly to everyone who's from there. I wasn't from there, and now I am, which she takes credit for. She says she translated me. The way she talks is the most beautiful thing that my ears have ever been given the opportunity to hear on a daily basis. The specific music of someone completely at home in their own language. Say it again, fixin' to, and y'all and all get out. Say it again, say it again. I could listen to the way you talk for the rest of my life without a doubt. That interior accent, Lord, that's my favorite sound. She says I reckon at the beginning of most sentences, which makes everything she says feel considered. Even the casual things, I reckon it's gonna rain, carries weight, I reckon we should go. Sounds like a decision the earth made. She says pitch dark and Sunday best. She says yonder and directly, the second means soon, which baffled me initially. She'll be there directly, she said on our first date. Directly turned out to mean 45 minutes, which is also a dialect. Time is approximating, that's fine. I have picked up about 30% of it. I say all now without thinking. She says I say it wrong. I say there's a wrong way to say all. She says absolutely. You say it like someone who learned it. I say I did learn it from you. She said yes, but you learned it. I was born with it. And she said that like is the difference, which it is. The way she talks is the most beautiful thing that these ears have ever heard on any morning. Say it again, say it again. Every all is better than the one before it. Say it again, say it again. I reckon and fixin' to, and all get out. Restore it every single day. Just keep talking and I'll stay. That interior accent, Lord, keep it that way. Y'all come back now, bless your heart, bless your heart. Fixin' to, right quick, that's the art. I'll get out, and I reckon so. The most beautiful language that I'll ever know. Say it again, say it again. Fixin' to, that interior accent, Lord, that's my favorite sound. Step right, left, right together. That's the start of everything. Step right, left, right together. Feel the rhythm that the fiddle's gonna bring. Nobody starts out knowing this. Everybody's got to learn the count. The ones who look like they were born to it started at the same embarrassing amount of wrong steps and wrong turns and stepping on somebody's boots. That's the education. That's where country dancing roots. Line dancing isn't just a dance. It's a conversation with a room. 100 people in the same direction, moving to the same moon. You don't need a partner, that's the freedom of it. You just need to know the step and the willingness to be in the middle of something in the same direction, moving to the music like a shared decision. Two boots on the floor, that's the only ticket in. Two boots on the floor, everybody wins. Hey! There's a woman in the front who's been doing this for years. She doesn't lead, she just knows, and the whole room follows naturally, because excellence is gravity, it shows. Watch your feet for 3 songs and you'll have the basics. By the 4th, by song 6, you're not watching her feet anymore, you're just moving. That's what practice is worth. End of the night and the floor is still going. 2 in the morning and the boots are still on. This is what country dancing does to a room. Once it starts, it doesn't want to stop for long. Somebody's grandmother is out there right now, outpacing everybody half her age. That's the other thing about line dancing. Experience is the whole advantage. 2 boots on the floor, 2 boots on the floor. That's all it takes to be part of something more. 2 boots on the floor. Left, right again. This is where the strangers all become the friends. 2 boots on the floor in the same direction, moving to the music like a shared decision. 2 boots on the floor, that's the only ticket in. 2 boots on the floor, everybody wins. Hey! Left, right. Don't stop now. Left, right. You're getting it somehow. Left, right. The fiddle's gonna fly. Left, right. Boots, don't say goodbye. And I'm watching that clock the way a man watches a clock. When 59 minutes feels like an ethical test of everything he's built in 40 years of self-control. 4:59 and 30 seconds, 4:59 and 45, 4:59 and 58, and then the hand moves and I am alive. With everything I had, Monday through Thursday in full. Today I coasted slightly, which is the Friday afternoon adjustment that productivity studies don't account for, but everyone knows. I said goodbye to 12 people with genuine meaning. I said goodbye to 3 more with perform meaning. I said goodbye to 1 person by waving from across the parking lot, because the walk was too far. 59. Hey, 5 o'clock Friday. Lord, that's the sound. The whole week lifting off the ground. 5 o'clock Friday. Every Monday's down payment on this exact specific Friday. 5 o'clock payment. The truck is pointed toward the weekend and I hit the road. 5 o'clock Friday and I drop every load that the week piled on. Lord, I drop it right here. 5 o'clock Friday, favorite time of year. Every week, the drive home on Friday hits different than Monday. Monday's drive home is just pre-Tuesday. Friday's drive home is the beginning of everything that the paycheck is for, the being alive part. I roll the windows down regardless of temperature, which my wife says isn't necessary in February, and I say is entirely necessary in February. because that's what Friday at 5 sounds like. Cold air and everything. My buddy texted, "You free tonight?" I said, "Describe free." He said, "You're free." Backyard speaker on the tailgate. I said, "Give me 40 minutes." He said, "The cooler's already open." I said, 30 minutes. He said, "The grill's on." I said, "I'm already in the truck." 5 o'clock Friday, Lord, that's the sound. The whole week lifting right up off the ground. 5 o'clock Friday, everything we work for. The Monday through the Thursday is the price, and this is what it's for. The truck is pointed toward the weekend and I hit the gas. 5 o'clock Friday. Lord, this week went fast and slow and everything in between, but here we are. 5 o'clock Friday, I'll take it every week by far. 5 o'clock, hit the parking lot. 5 o'clock, give it everything you got. 5 o'clock, the weekend starts right now. 5 o'clock Friday, Lord, show me how you made something this good and put it every week. 5 o'clock Friday, Lord, that's the sound. Yeah, let's go. Got a closet full of the same thing, which some people call a lack of variety, which I call a refined and consistent aesthetic that requires zero decision making in the morning. Jeans, the ones that fit right, which took 3 years to find. Boots, the ones that know my foot, which took 2 years to break in. Belt, the one with the real buckle, which was my granddad's. Shirt, whatever's clean, which is the only variable. I walked into a fancy place once with a dress code that said business casual. I looked at myself and thought, I own none of that. I own work and I own good. Those are my two categories. Work is the jeans with a stain that don't come out. Good is the jeans without it. That's the whole wardrobe philosophy, and it has served me for 37 years. Hey, jeans and boots and the same 3 shirts. This is what it looks like when the outside matches the inside. Jeans and boots, nothing fake, nothing hurts. This is what it feels like when you've got nothing left to hide behind. I don't need a label for you to know who I am. The boots say it, the jeans say it, the belt buckle says it. Jeans and boots and an honest face. Lord, I'm exactly who you see. And that suits me. My kids tried to take me shopping once, all 3 of them organized, pre-planned. They had opinions about everything in the store. I tried on things that had opinions about me. I said, this shirt has a logo on it the size of my hand. They said, that's the brand, that's what you're paying for. I said, I'm not paying for a logo the size of my hand. They said, Dad, I said, these jeans cost $40. They said, that's the problem. I said, no, it's the solution. Ended up with one thing from the shopping trip, a belt my daughter picked that I actually like. She knows me, she didn't try to change me. She just found the version of the right thing in the right store. That's the lesson. Find the people who find you, the right version of you, not the improved version, not the dressed up version, not the version that has opinions. The you that you've been for 37 years, in the jeans and the boots, and call that enough, because it is. Jeans and boots and the same 3 shirts. This is what it looks like when the outside matches the inside. Jeans and boots, nothing fake, nothing hurts. This is what it feels like when you've got nothing left to hide behind. I don't need a label for you to know who I am. The boots say it, the jeans say it, the belt buckle says first, and that has always suited me. 3 years to find the right jeans, 2 years to break in the right boots, 37 years to find out that right is right. And that's the truth. Jeans and boots, oh, that suits me. Jeans and boots, that has always suited me. The temperature in this room went up approximately 12 degrees from the moment you walked in, and I don't think that's the air conditioning. The conversations around me lost my participation somewhere between the door and wherever you decided to stand. My buddy leaned over and said, "Dude, you okay? You look like you forgot how to talk." I said, "I'm fine." He looked at me, he looked at where I was looking. He said, "Oh," he said, "Yeah, that tracks." He said, "Do you need a minute?" I said, "I need about 45 minutes and a better opener." He said, "You're on your own. Somebody call the fire department. Something in here is burning and it's not the candles. Somebody call the fire department, 'cause I walked into a party and the party turned to flames. The temperature went up and the smoke alarm went off in the part of my brain responsible for staying cool. Somebody call the fire department, 'cause I am genuinely in trouble, and I think it's wonderful. I eventually talked to her, which required a level of self-confidence that I had to manufacture on the spot from whatever was available. She was easy to talk to, which was a trap, because easy to talk to lowered my guard. And before I knew it, I'd been talking for an hour and had completely missed the original plan, which was to be cooler than I was, which is not what happened at all. She asked if I was always like this. I said, "Like what?" She said, "Like this." Gesturing at me generally, I said, "Yes. Is that a problem?" She said, "No." She said she'd been talking to careful people all night, and I was the first not careful one. I said, "I can be careful if that's better." She said, "Please don't." I said, "Okay." She said, "Okay." Somebody call the fire department. The temperature in here went up and I'm to blame. Somebody call the fire department, but tell them to take their time. I'm not trying to cool the flames. She said, "Please don't be careful." I said, "I won't. The fire alarm is going off and I intend to let it." Somebody call the fire department, but not on our account. We're doing just fine. Fire alarm, best thing that ever went off in a room. Fire alarm, couldn't put it out if I wanted to. Please don't be careful. Tell them to take their time. Somebody call the fire department. Population 1,400 on the sign, which is probably optimistic. It was higher in '99. The 1,400 people know how to have a time better than most cities, 10 times that confined. Because 1,400 people all know each other, which means the party is never between which is a completely different thing. The fairgrounds hold about 800, which means half the town is there and the other half is watching from their porches as the music carries over, which is also attended just at a distance with better seating. The high school parking lot, the church parking lot, the field behind the hardware store on the 3rd of July. Every flat surface in this town has hosted something and remembered every face that was in it. Small town party, Lord, it hits different. Small town party, everybody's somebody's cousin. Small town party, the DJ knows what everyone wants because a DJ went to school. Concerts I've seen were not the ones in stadiums with 30,000. The best concert I've ever seen was in this town, on a flatbed trailer in the fairgrounds parking lot. 200 people in a band that was thrilled to be there. Sound system slightly underpowered for the occasion, which meant everybody stood close and that made it perfect. 1,400 town and the 200 who showed up, and the rest listening from their porches, and the guy who turned off his TV to hear it better, and the woman who stood at her kitchen window, and the whole town attending in whatever way it could. Last summer was the best one we've had in anyone's recent memory. And the reason wasn't anything that happened, it was everything that happened, which is the same thing. The July 4th parade, the county fair, the church picnic, the fairgrounds concert, the hardware store, parking lot thing, Bobby's backyard every Saturday from May to October. 1,400 people, more parties than you could attend. Small town party, Lord, it hits different. Small town party, everybody, somebody's cousin. Small town party, the history of everybody here goes back 3 generations and 100 years. Small town party, nobody performs for the audience, 'cause everybody in the audience is the audience. You don't need a big city to have the best night. Small town party, that's doing it right. That's always been doing it right. 1,400 people, big enough to party, small enough to know you. That's the art. Best concerts, best cookouts, best summer nights. Small town party, it's been doing it right. Small town party, that's doing it right. 1,400 people. My granddad had a banjo that he kept above the fireplace. Said it belonged up high because it was the highest sound he knew. Said a banjo in the right hands wasn't an instrument. It was an argument that joy always wins. He played it every Sunday after church, fast enough to make the dogs tilt their heads, fast enough to make my grandmother tap her foot against her will. She'd look at the foot like it betrayed her. He taught me three things about the banjo. First, it doesn't play sad well, which is a design feature, not a flaw. Singing. Second, when it argues with a fiddle, everyone wins. Third, if people aren't moving, you're not playing it right. I took lessons for 2 years from a man in town who had been playing since he was old enough to hold it. At the end of 2 years he said, "You're not as bad as you were when you started." High praise. The banjo doesn't stop, the banjo doesn't slow. The banjo has one speed, and that speed is go. The banjo doesn't care if you're tired or done. The banjo is an instrument committed to fun. The banjo and the fiddle in a room together is the auditory equivalent of perfect weather. The banjo doesn't stop, it just rolls on through. The banjo doesn't stop, it's coming for you. There's a moment in every good jam session when the banjo and the fiddle find the same place, and the guitar fills in underneath, and the whole room stops being a room and becomes a thing. That thing doesn't have a name exactly. The technical word is groove, but groove is insufficient. It's the moment when music stops being music and becomes the reason music exists. It lasted about 45 seconds last Sunday, and nobody spoke for a full minute after it stopped. And then Bobby said, "Good Lord," and that was the right response. My granddad's banjo is mine now. I keep it above the fireplace because that's where it goes. I play it every Sunday after church, fast enough to make the dogs tilt their heads. My wife has never once asked me to stop playing it, which is either love or she's used to it. Either way, she taps her foot against her will like she betrayed herself, like my grandmother before her, which might be the whole inheritance. The banjo doesn't stop, the banjo doesn't slow. The banjo has one speed, and that speed is go. The banjo doesn't care if you're tired or done. The banjo is an instrument committed to fun. The banjo and the fiddle, Lord, that's the sound. The banjo and the fiddle, best thing around. The banjo doesn't stop, it just rolls and rolls. The banjo doesn't stop, it's coming for your soul. Banjo doesn't stop, it just rolls on through. My granddad was right. Joy. O'clock and we were going to leave at 9, which is the thing about a good night. The plan expires and the night takes over the plan's responsibilities and does a better job 11 o'clock and somebody's still on the grill, which should be impossible, but Bobby found ribs in the back of his truck that he forgot to mention until now, which is actually perfect timing. Midnight and the speakers are still running. The playlist has cycled 4 times and nobody noticed, because the playlist is right, and right doesn't get old. The kind of right that just keeps being right. My wife is in the lawn chair with her second wind, which is the best version of my wife's second wind. She's telling a story that has everyone laughing, including me, and I've heard it 30 times. We said we'd leave early, and we didn't leave early. We said we'd leave at 9, and 9 became late. We said we'd leave at midnight, and midnight became nothing. We said we'd leave when it slowed down, and it never slowed down till the sun came up, and that's the measure of a good night. When the sun has to end it because you couldn't till the sun came up. Lord, that's the measure till the sun came up. That's how you know. 2 in the morning and 6 of us remain, the ones who lasted, the committed few, the ones for whom going home has become a theoretical concept to revisit when the music stops. 3 in the morning, someone found a guitar, old Pete, who plays 11 chords, all 11 of them, over the next hour in various combinations that should not work and somehow do. 4 in the morning and the fire is low, and the conversation is the slow count that only happens at 4 in the morning, when the people left are the ones who can be trusted with the real stuff. 4 in the morning conversation is different from midnight conversation. Midnight is the performance of depth. 4 in the morning is the actual depth. Different thing entirely. We said we'd leave early, hey, and we didn't leave early. We said we'd leave at 9, and 9 became nothing. We said we'd leave at midnight, and we're still here at 4. We said we'd leave when it slowed down, and it never slowed down till the sun came up, but that's the measure of a good night. When the sun has to end it because you couldn't till the sun came up. Lord, that's the measure till the sun came up. That's how you know it was good. The sky goes pink before it goes gold. The birds start before the sun appears. This is what it looks like when a night goes right. This is worth every tired Saturday morning. This is the whole reason for everything, from the charcoal at 5 in the morning to the guitar at 4 in the morning, to the sun at 5:30 that ends it. That's the whole circle. That's the whole day. We said we'd leave early. Lord, we didn't leave early. Smoking fire started it, and the sun came to end it. We said we'd leave at 9. The sun rose instead. Same time next weekend. That's what Bobby said. Till the sun came up. Lord, that's the measure. Till the sun came up. That's the whole day's treasure. From the smoke and the fire to the final chord, till the sun came up. Thank you, Lord. Till the sun came up. Same time next weekend. Bobby said, same time next weekend. But Banjo doesn't stop smoking fire.